Hey, Wild fans. Glad to be joined by Wild winger Mike Liambas. A couple of years with the organization, and he's still hanging out in the suburbs of Des Moines. Boss, how are you, buddy?
Good. I'm really good. Yep. We are still here in Des Moines for a bit, and we're getting to enjoy this beautiful setup we got here.
Yeah, I probably should have we could have maybe done this in person from 6 feet away with the help of our video crew, possibly, but we decided to do it virtually.
Yeah.
Here as the summer's moving along. You got a nice backyard there. You guys have been renting that house for basically the whole year, and part of the reason, like you said, that you wanted to stick around in town is just because it works out well for the family. How is the family doing, and how are you guys staying busy?
Yeah, we're doing really good actually. We got a lot going on with Bodie. Obviously, with no daycare for a while and all that. It's been not tough. It's been amazing to have all that time with him, but it's definitely been time consuming in that regard. But I've been, staying active with him, bike riding. Me and Tam been going for bike rides with him, rollerblading. Been doing some of my woodworking, like keeping pretty busy with that, and kind of just enjoying our time in this beautiful weather and this beautiful area that we get to live in.
He's about 1.5 years old now, Bodie.
I think he's a little more. I think he's almost 21. Is it the 17th today? Yeah, the 16th. I think he was 21 months.
Okay.
So yeah,
Awesome. And I know we wanted to maybe have him part of our conversation today, but
yeah,
he's a busy man. He's already hit the road. So
yeah.
um, the charity work that you did, it was sort of spontaneous in a lot of ways. The pandemic hits, the season gets shut down, and you really took the initiative to get the ball rolling for the Des Moines community. Ended up raising a ton of money for the Iowa Food Bank. Just take our fans through that whole process, and obviously with the support of the great fans and sponsors of the Iowa Wild and your teammates, able to raise a lot of money.
Yeah. Um, I don't even know how it came about. I started talking to Allie Brown actually when all this went on, and we were just sitting here, and the season was postponed, and all this chaos was happening for everyone at the same time, and I just kind of took a step back and was trying to come up with a way that we can somehow have a hand in helping, because I mean our community here in Des Moines has always had our back every single game night, every single function we do. So I feel like it was our kind of duty to be able to help them in any way, and we were kind of restricted with what we can do as far as being involved with other people and everything. So I think the best situation that myself and Allie came up with and people in the front office was working with the food bank in Iowa, since there was a need for that. And kudos to Allie and Tim for getting that going. And they're kind of the backbone. I mean, you say that I help with the charity, and I did a bit, but mostly it is the staff in our front office that people like you and Allie and Tim that get these programs really off their feet and do all the legwork, which a lot of people don't see. So I'd say most of the thank you should be going to like Allie and the people in the front office and Tim, because they're the ones that really do all the legwork. But yeah, we got it going, and I think our goal was like maybe $5,000, and Fred James Law Firm jumped in and matched the first 1,000. I know. I'm pretty sure Minnesota and Craig Leopold did the same, and then
Yep.
also the dealerships in town here did the same. So it just kind of skyrocketed, and then our team decided to put our $1,500 of our own money into it to kind of get it going. And next thing you know, we're like surpassing $20,000. So it ended up passing, like blowing our expectations out of the water. So like I said, kudos to our team staff and everything to get the ball rolling on all that.
In addition to helping the community, you've been staying busy with one of your hobbies, the
Yeah.
woodworking end of things. For our fans that don't know much about it, tell them how you got into, as you always have told me, working with your hands and the
Yeah.
passion there.
Yeah. Growing up as a kid, I've always played with Lego. I built remote control cars from screw by screw and piece by piece, and I was kind of always intrigued by working with my hands and building stuff. And um, yeah, I started. My mom and dad were redoing their basement, and they needed a new mirror for their basement bathroom. I went and found an old pallet that was getting thrown out. I took it apart and kind of put together a frame for a mirror for my mom's bathroom, and I really enjoyed doing that over the course of a weekend, and just slowly started gathering tools together over the last couple of years, and kind of with woodworking, like I'll be doing it for 50 years, and I'll still be learning 50 years into it. You kind of learn after each piece you make, which is really cool. learning is addictive to me, and anytime you can learn something, it's like no one can take knowledge away from you. So I always allude to the fact of like wearing a tool belt, hypothetical tool belt within the hockey world, and adding skills and tools to my belt. And you're kind of getting to do that all the time with woodworking. So it's pretty cool. It keeps my mind sharp, and it's creative for me. And it really took off this summer after the quarantine because I had so much time, me and Tamara, to put into it. And at the same time, it took our minds off of all the chaos going on. So it's kind of been a really good situation to have that.
After the season was halted and then eventually canceled, the team text message for the group and all those things and talking to you, um, the disappointment that you in particular felt to not be able to finish this year, and I feel like a lot of the older players in particular were in that same boat as you. Maybe some of the younger guys just don't get it yet, but this was a special team, and the Iowa Wild really had a chance to win. I know you want to win a championship at some point in your career. How disappointing was it to have this group, with as good as they were, not even be able to play it out on the ice?
Yeah, this was my 10th season, and I can honestly say I've never had a team like we had here this year with the potential that we had. Like last year, our team was really great, super skilled, and we had potential. But this year, I think we were much more well-rounded as a group and had the same amount of skill that other guys stepped up, which always happens every year. Like you guys will see in a couple of years, Duhaime, Dewar, even Sturmy, and some of these young guys will like grow into, like every year I see it happen since I started where I'll always have young kids as my centermen or on my line on the fourth line.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, the next year and 3 years down the road, their first power play, their first second line. And it's really cool. I was actually talking to Duhaime this morning about some things, and I just told him I think he's going to be the modern day Tom Wilson. And Tom's one of my really good buddies. And I think that there's so many similarities between a guy like Duhaime and Tom Wilson that eventually he will grow into those boots and he'll be the modern day Tom Wilson, which is exciting. And that's what I told him. I'm just excited to watch these guys develop over the years, which is why I do want to stay here, because I want to, be part of that process with them. But getting back to it, it was really tough because I really thought this was the year that we were going to win a championship and I was going to kind of knock that off the bucket list. And just with everything going on and all the uncertainty up in the air, especially for an older guy like myself, it'll be really sad if that was my last crack at it. And the worst part about it all is that we didn't have a second to take a team photo yet. I know that was coming around the time that the season got canceled, but we don't even have a team photo to I don't know. There's just no closure. It's almost like breaking up with a long-term relationship, and there's just no closure to anything. Like what if there was no? I feel like my whole life I'll be thinking what could that team have done? What would we have been celebrating still right now? And that was tough because we were all looking forward to that. Think about how much work every single team puts in all season to get to the playoffs, and we did that, and we had our nose to the grindstone every single day when we were at the rink. And Tim Army made sure that. We made sure we earned it every day, and we did. And that's the hard part, is you put in so much work and then there's nothing left to show for it once it all got canceled. So I feel like it's going to stay with me for a while if this is the way it all plays out for me. But most of the guys will have another crack at a championship team. Hopefully, that's the hard part. Like I said, I've played for 10 years and this has been the best team I've ever had and the best shot at it. So that is the hard part, is that you want to win a championship, because if you're going to coach someday, you want to be able to back it up when you're trying to tell kids and players how to win. You got to be able to win yourself, and I really wanted that for myself and for our group of guys. And it'll kind of always just be up in the air, even for you guys, and it'll just be like you guys put so much work in the background of things, and I know it's exciting for you guys too, and the whole staff, the whole organization, the city. Like last year, think about those fans we had in the playoffs and how much better it was even going to be this year. Like we were all so excited about it. We were talking about it, and it's a heartbreaker. And the tough part about the AHL is every single year, every team is so different. There's so much turnover every single year with every team, with affiliations moving, with guys moving on, with just everything. New younger kids coming in every single year. So it's just tough, because we had a really special group that everyone got along. We had so much fun off the ice, and I really think it showed on the ice. And it's just unfortunate we'll never be able to see it through.
What do you like most about the Des Moines area?
Um, I played on teams that, like, you're in big cities like San Diego, let's say, and a team like San Diego, we had a crew that was downtown, and a crew, half the team was a beach crew, and it was about 25-minute drive in between. So I like a small city like Des Moines or even Rockford, that aren't, like, I can't compare anything to Rockford. I'm nothing against them, but it's just not the greatest city. But I'm saying in terms of not a big city, that
Yep.
means that there's limited things for your team to do off the ice, which means that you're always together. And I've noticed that big city teams versus small city teams, like, let's say Iowa, not that there's not much going on. There is more going on in Iowa, but we had so many backyard get-togethers and bonfires and, like, music, and just, you become so much more of a cohesive team when there's not really other things going on in the city, because you're always together all the time then, which I love. We love the fan base. We love just everything about it. There's restaurants, there's things to do, but at the same time, it's also a slower paced lifestyle, which we love at this point in our life and our career. We just love the city, and we hope to be back, but we'll see how everything works out with all the uncertainty of everything.
Dean Evison is the head coach of the Minnesota Wild, interim basis right now. If they get back up and running, he could possibly, of course, be their head coach in the future. And he was your head coach with the Milwaukee Admirals, your first crack, um, you know, at a good chance in the NHL. And Dean Evison was a big believer in you and getting you called up and all those things. And I remember the first time you got called up, Dean Evison was singing your praises. Iowa was playing Milwaukee. I asked him, hey, what about Liambas? That's great. And he was through the roof.
Houston, and my first game was against Houston Astros, right?
And the Arrows, yes. No, but I mean, when you first got called up, Iowa happened to be playing Milwaukee. And
Yeah.
I asked Dean about you getting called up, and he could not have sung your praises anymore. What about the relationship with now Minnesota Wild head coach Dean Evison?
Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say, I can say this for Dean, but also a handful of people. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for him and for this handful of people in my life. But Dean and Paul, they were the ones that called me up from the East Coast League, and kind of turned me into a forward and turned me into a penalty killer. I owe my hockey career to both of those guys and the handful of people that I know helped me along the way. But Dean, I can honestly say, like, I've had so many great coaches, but he's just over the top, like, as far as number one. Like, he had the perfect mix of making sure the guys had a good time, and, like, we were somewhat loose, but then when it was time to throw the hammer down, like, everyone knew and he didn't have to. He was great at, using his leaders to bridge the gap between the players and the coaching staff. He was great at giving us our time off the ice, because he knew that, bonding off the ice would really transform to on ice. It's, like, amazing stuff. And he just had a good grasp of everything. He had a good grasp of what was going on off the ice. He had a good grasp of on the ice. He knew when we needed rest. He knew when we needed a push. And the best part about Dean is, which you don't get a lot in hockey, is he'll look you in the eye and tell you exactly what's going on and the truth. And he always said, if you don't like it, that's fine. If you do like it, that's fine. I got to be straight up with guys, because then you'll handle it however you want as a man. But I think the players respect that from a coach, in the game, because most people can't look at you in the eye and tell you exactly what's going on and be straight with you, because I know it's a business and they got to keep their cards tight to their chest, and I understand it. But his way of going about things was, he got so much respect from players because of that. And at first, he might not like what comes out of his mouth, but at the end of the day, when you go home, you realize that, he's telling you the truth, and he's trying to get you to prepare for what's coming, or he's trying to open your eyes to what's going on if it's not a good thing, and this is what you have to do to change it. If not, it's not going to work out for you. And at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for, because then the ball's in your court. You do with it what you want. If someone's not able to tell you exactly what's going on, you don't even know what to do, because in hockey, a lot of times they don't tell you exactly what's going on, and you're kind of sitting there and not knowing what the next move is, because they're not being straight with you. And that's one thing I respect, and I know every single player that played for him respects that. He'll give it to you straight.
You mentioned as we let you go here that your AHL debut was oddly enough against Minnesota's farm team in Houston, and you told me I was probably on the call
Yeah,
that night that you fought Riley Grantham. So I'll have to dig up that game tape and see if I can find that fight. First
yeah.
AHL game, first fight,
First
and
shift. I knew I had to come in
first
and
shift.
yeah, I knew I had to come in and make a statement. During warm-ups, Riley Grantham was the biggest, baddest guy on the ice that I
Yep.
could find. And I've always been, I'm not scared to fight anyone. And I knew it would make a statement. And like I said, I turned into a forward when I went to Milwaukee. So all I knew to do is get the puck to the red line, chip it in, skate, and hit people and fight. And that's what I did to stay alive until Dean helped me start building, tools on my belt. And it got to the point where I was maybe playing 4 or 5 minutes a night in the AHL to the point where I was playing 12 minutes a night. And yeah, so my thing when I came in is I wanted to make a statement because I wanted to stay there. I didn't want to. I mean, the easy part's getting called up, which isn't easy, but the hard part of that is staying,
Yep.
and that's what I knew to do to stay and like to stay afloat until I figured other things out. And yeah, so Riley was the very first biggest baddest guy on the ice that I didn't care if I got my butt kicked. I wanted to make a statement, and I did. And I probably did that. Like I think I played 27 games there my first year after I got called up, and I probably fought 20 times just because, like I said, that kept me in the lineup until I figured other things out. And yeah, I would like to hear the call on that on your end to see your thoughts of Mike Liambas back then when you didn't know who I was.
Exactly. I'll dig it up and we'll share that over a beer sometime.
That'd be great.
Boss, always nice catching up with you, buddy. Thanks for doing this. And again, have a great summer with the family. And you certainly made a statement with all the fans around the Des Moines area, all the great work in the community last couple of years. So, on behalf of the organization, thank you for everything you did on and off the ice the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. You make life easy. You're the glue guy. If anyone doesn't know, Joe is the glue guy of our team. He's got many tools and skills on his belt. He does a lot of things that no one sees. So kudos to you, Joe. You make working with a hockey team and our everyday life fun and easy. So thank you.
Checks in the mail, brother. Wild fans, keep it real as always. Mike Liambas is the best, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you
Stay
guys.
safe.